Sandeep, you are right in the middle of a huge conversation on auctions, so I cannot let you go without that conversation. I think different people have different ideas about auctions, so I'd really love to hear your perspective, Sandeep. What do auctions really do to the real estate market? How do they change the city's valuations? And are they different when they are conducted by the government or otherwise privately? And how, in the long term picture of the city, do auctions play a part? So we'd love to begin with that.
No, thank you, Deepal and Team Times of India for inviting me. Uh, I, as you know, recently JLL partnered with TGIC for a record auction, and I think different stakeholders in real estate have different perspective. I think. If you ask me as JLL, as Sandeep, I'm extremely proud of the results, what has been seen, 177 crore per acre, and the state exchequer earning more than 3,000 crores for the two land parcels of approx, both measuring 18.6 or 18.7 acres. No, while there is a fear, Deepal, that it will lead to rise in land prices and the developers will find it a little difficult to get land, but I have a different perspective. Please understand, it is Raidurg. And I always believe that every matured city in India should have a Raidurg. The way there is a BKC in Bombay, the way there is a golf extension road in Gurgaon, we have Raidurg. And it has to be the costliest real estate in Hyderabad. Absolutely, I am in favor of that. And let me give you some facts, figures, and statistics, and I'll need some extra minutes to prove that. And when people hear me, and they will think that I'm a hardcore capitalist, okay, and people might not like it, but I'll tell you why it is very good for Hyderabad. A success of Raidurg proves a lot of economic indicators for the city of Hyderabad. The success of Raidurg auction shows the economic prosperity of Hyderabad, right? Now let's take example of Dubai. Now, Dubai, you have locations in the outskirts where Shobha is doing the big township, and you have there the products are priced very moderately. Then you have the product and you have the assets close to Burj Khalifa, which is priced very, very high. But Dubai is known for those products, if you have to talk about in the world perspective and or the eyes. So rather with that infrastructure, with that quality of retail, with that quality of F&B, that infrastructure was always underpriced. It was always underpriced, and it is high time that it should get priced. So I'm very happy that Raidur is getting the price. Just think how when globally, and I always say that when globally people get to hear about the success of an auction, if you see why DLF, the latest product of DLF in Gurgaon, that is Dahlias, is 100 crore per flat. I'm just giving perspective, right? Because DLF has proved it, that micro market has proved it, right? And that there is an ecosystem, and there is an aspirational living for the people who want to live that, right? And then that ecosystem can be built, and I feel first in Raidurg, and now then second phase can be a Neopolis. So I 100% support the auction of 177 crore per acre, because that shows the economic prosperity of the city. That is my way of looking into the auction, Deepal.
And probably Neopolis can also cross that.
So Neopolis obviously is going to happen, and I'm very confident that it will also be a mega success. And the way the past indicators are, and the way things have been planned in Neopolis in terms of infrastructure, and with the connectivity and all, it is going to be a bumper success is my take. And if you say think of next 5 to 10 years, I think it will hands down beat any other location in India, and that is my take.
That sounds fabulous. Yes, please, you can add it.
Just to add to that point, Deepal and Sandeep. See, another big advantage when auctions happen, right? See, typically developers, the way for us land is a raw material, right? And most of the land acquisitions happen extensively around relationship building, which takes like anywhere from a year to 3-4 years to scale a relationship. I'm very much in support of auctions because you can cut down that time. So for young entrepreneurs like us who have grown, rapidly in short span of time, that was because good amount of land was available through auctions where you can cut down the relationship building time, right? Which takes from 1 year to 3 years to 0 minutes. You just have to be a bidder and you'll get the land. And second thing is when the government itself is becoming supplier of the land. See, government is the biggest function of the state, right? They have the biggest power in the state, right? The title is much better verified. Of course, there might be some challenges in some cases, but broadly speaking, by and large, the title which is provided by government has been the best title which has been provided to the market, right? So all of these sort of things, now the raw material comes to me quicker and with a much more cleaner format from a legal aspect. Naturally, then I can focus more on my manufacturing aspect, that is build a good product so that consumers can come and buy it, right? So these are the two major advantages when the supply comes from the government. And second thing is when it comes via an auction, right, the price discovery is well achieved, so that for the exchequer, for people, their due share is coming.
So I suppose when you price your product, it already has a background, it already has a story, it already has a backing, right, from the government. Yes, of course. So, sir, in all this excitement, and I can see a big smile on Dr. Saab's face, about the, we are talking about the evergreen city that we live in. How do you see the new builders and the existing builders comply with RERA, whether it is the builders or the agents? Do you feel that there are things which you would like to introduce to the city more, or do you think there is a decent level of compliance across the board?
Thank you so much, Diplaji. First point, of course, while introducing, you said Sandeep is always happy. I never, in my life, everybody will say, Satyanarayana Sahib always say happy. I am also have that. Somehow you have not given that recognition.
Like I said, I know him for 15 years, and he's always there when there's a major crisis.
Achha.
And he's always trying to set things right.
Okay.
That's how I refer to him.
Yeah. Need to be happy. Everybody need to be happy. Then only the performance or the output would be the best.
Yes.
So with regard to the developers, of course, RERA regular functioning started only July 2023 onwards. So if you see the pan-India, the developers in Telangana and also Andhra, because the erstwhile state brought in 2006 this mortgage clause. So the builder need to comply all the things mentioned in the sanction plan by the competent authority, also the technical approval given by the planning authority. So all planning regulation and development control regulation shall be adhered to get that 15% or 10% mortgage. That's why they are well structured, because of that condition is there. That is the actually great strength as far as RERA is concerned for implementing. However, because other aspects considering from the perspective of the compliance of the provisions of the Act, of course now the streamlined almost. However, since I got the opportunity, from this forum I want to tell all the promoters and the developers and landowners who are acting as a promoter, when they are taking cost share or the marketing or the joint, so they also will be treated as the promoter as per section 2ZK. So they have the responsibilities and jointly and severally. So they are also be treated as a promoter. We pronounce many orders, making them responsible for complying the legally mandated obligations as per the provisions of the Act once project is registered with us. So all the builders where they are taking up these projects beyond 500 square meters of the site area and more than 8 units. So after enactment of Real Estate Regulation Development Act 2016, it is a legally mandated responsibility that they should get registered with RERA. First point. Second point, so the violation will attract the penalty, imposition of penalty up to 10% of the project cost. That is a huge and self-defeating rather. So kindly comply that. That is good for you. Once is RERA registered, then I think your saleability, marketing and all that, it will increase that credibility, trust, faith increase. So while submitting under Section 4, ensure that don't leave it to the second and third person. So whatever you are uploading, in addition to the, of course, the sanctioned plan and the approved plan by the planning authority, and also the maybe the title, documents, encumbrances, and your, especially your declarations and undertakings. So once it is registered, it is like Lakshman Rekha. They should be bound by that. There is a legally mandated obligations. So, and also the, especially the regulation is actually financial regulation. Through financial regulation, project will be regulated from the perspective of the home buyer. So, in that context, there is a, as per the Act, there is a separate account. Some people call designated, some people call escrow account, but it is not escrow, it is the designated account or separate account. So, Vamshi knows about that, how it functions, how it, money can be utilized, because not only the project CA and project engineer, project architect, they need to certify for drawal of the money from the separate account. The banks also will oversee. So that is a inbuilt oversight, the regulatory oversight mechanism is there. Thereby, the functioning of the builder will be structured. Your planning, financial planning also will be structured. That is for good of you only. So, and also giving the, say, the confidence to the home buyer. Thereby, the money keep pumping, because all the people, as per the assessment in the country, 77% of their savings will go to only real estate. That means huge savings are coming to the sector. So, to further increase, I think this is the thing all developers need to do. So while submit, I request the developers to be cautious to submit the information on 18 items, so that the very objective of the Act, leaving or giving the freedom to the prospective halati to take informed decision. There would be issues, as this was saying. So why the rate is so? Because the government. So the title is assured. In other areas, there are issues. There may be cases. So the prospective home buyer will take informed decision, duly assessing the risks involved. So when it is informed, tomorrow the problems will not be there. That is the first point. Second point, after getting registered, the 18 items would be there. They will see that additionally, as you also, earlier discussions, you raised this point, the compliance, to what extent it is there. After once it is registered, it is the legally mandated responsibility on the part of the promoter or the developer that quarterly reports they should submit. So section 11, 1B to E, it is very clearly says every quarter you need to submit 3 reports. Form 1 by the architect, Form 2 by the project engineer, Form 3 by the project CA. And in addition to that, one first year is completed, he has to submit the annual account statement, audited one, by statutory CA, certified. So this speaks, the Form 3 also speaks not only the progress, it also speaks report of means of finance. So that is actually inbuilt mechanism to the promoter, not get into any kind of the problem in the future. So you should see how the finances are flowing. You should have articulated plan, detailed plan of how you are going to raise or infuse the finances to complete the project as per the timelines you committed while submitting the proposal to the RERA. That will get registered. Sorry. So these are the 2 points after registration. Third point, see, finally the project or the real estate business will happen based on the investor confidence, the prospective home buyer or the plot buyer. So that can be assured, whatever that you have done, maybe the model allotment letter, that we insist it is a mandatory, that you have uploaded, you should stick to that. You should not deviate from that. Even if you deviate, that will not help you. That will not give, this is self-evidently incapable of giving any right, any advantage. So that they say, maybe some people you can do that, but later when it comes to the RERA, we will follow the provisions of the act. So you cannot deviate. So that's why the model allotment letter uploaded in our website while registering the project, that scrupulously you should follow. And also the model agreement of sale that you uploaded, scrupulously you should follow. And also model sale deed that you uploaded, scrupulously you should follow. So these are the few things, because the last 2 years, the deviations are these things I could see. That's why I am utilizing this forum. First, as I mentioned to you, kindly all disclosures you should make on 18 items and get registered. Stick to that like Lakshman Rekha. And ensure that whatever the declarations and the undertakings you have given, kindly stick to that, and accordingly that you should do. Another problem I was mentioning in all forums is the agent. Though it is the responsibility of the promoter or developer, what kind of agents you are engaging. They must be registered under section 9 and 10. They should function like 10. And you should also upload their names while getting registered. After also you can do that, because the website is the dynamic. Your project revelations are also dynamic. You need to, for example, new agent is taken, that you should do. And ensure that the agent is also informed all the responsibilities and functions, duties of the promoter, because he should be informed. That is the duty of the agent, to facilitate the transaction. So that is one aspect. Second aspect is that he is thoroughly trained from section 3 to 19, so that he will properly inform the allotee. That is very important, crucial, because he will tell something. This was the scenario prior to legislation. Prior to legislation, there is a asymmetry of information. Total information is found to be only in the promoter, and finally happened to see that either not met or disappeared. So that it is not there. Now symmetry of information, transparency and accountability. Unless and until you train the agent, one is registration, second is aware of section 3 to 19, so that he properly communicate to the prospective home buyer, and he will be informed totally. Of course, he is expected to do thorough diligence while taking the informed decision to invest. Some people they cannot do, because all are not like that. Some maybe the uneducated would be there, prospective. Considering that, I think my request to the promoters and developers is, you need to strengthen the agents and ensure that some areas what it is happening, this agent while facilitating this, he is also taking money. He cannot do that. All money shall go only to the separate account. Now, of course, to separate account, we made 3 accounts: collection account, and separate account, and miscellaneous account.
Is that the case with both of you?
Yes.
Can you
On a lighter
And this collection.
on a lighter note,
This collection account has the auto sweep facility. It should go, and automatically 70% will go there. The 70%, there is a mandated provision saying that you can draw in proportion to the percentage of construction. That would be certified by the CA and also project architect, project engineer. Yeah, you want to.
No, I'm so. No, on a lighter note, when he meant agent, he meant me, and when he said builders, he meant both of them. So he's basically the Singham, Rera Singham. So basically, the Rera Singham. So so I think after after let me tell you. Not that he's sitting here. There is Rera in Hyderabad. There's a different scenario before him and after him, right? After he came, I think things have really changed. People have started, developers have started taking the Rera very, very seriously. So kudos to him. Otherwise, before him, it was basically very, not active, right?
not active? Absolutely. But the builders have to talk now, because you want to say something to Sandeep.
When we joined, so I think Aspesh also knows, there were 357 projects. 367 projects pending, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months also. Act mandates 1 month. We should get it registered. Today, if you want, you can cross-check. I am giving within a week, 10 days, 15 days, 21 days, not more than that. You ask Aspesh. So we are ensuring, for example, any builder is coming, auspicious day is there, sacred day is there. I am ready to give within 48 hours, provided they provide all information across the table. If there is a problem, persistent problem, we are actually inviting, and across the table we are explaining. So I am giving sanctions subject to compliance. So whenever he does, whether it is Sunday or Saturday, so system will give generated certificate to him. That kind of facility that we are doing, we are not taking much time. Although mandate 1 month, we are not taking that. So we want to facilitate that. Thank you so much.
So now I'd really like to ask the developers, and this is your forum, developers dialogue. You have to, Vamsi and Ajitesh, you have to tell us from your point of view. One is this, of course, RERA and its functioning, but also when buyers come to you, how aware are they about RERA? Does anybody talk about what are my rights under RERA? Does anybody have such conversations with you? And as builders, have you facilitated the understanding of RERA? Do you think it's important at all to share with the buyers? What is the status today? Yes, please.
Wherever we advertise, we have to have a RERA number on it. And then when they see the brochure or when they download the brochure from a website, they have to see, or they are seeing in fact, and then they are going to, it's a very tough example, sir. You are mentioning about the 18 elements we have to upload areas, and then we have to give the agreement of sale, allotment letter and sale deed, right? So you are asking me whether the customers are aware of it or not. They are very well aware of it. They are downloading all the linked documents much before they are coming for the site visit. And also the moment we give the allotment letter, we will also send all the linked documents along with the welcome mail. They are comparing these two, and also they are comparing the agreement of sale when we send for a draft, whether it is as per the RERA or not. So they are very well aware of it, and they are also utilizing the timelines which we have given and all. In general, ma'am, it's like the permission, the period of permission will be equally given as period of construction in RERA also. But usually we don't go to that extent. We will try to finish it off and hand over much earlier. So, and then what we mentioned in the agreement of sale is much more important. So we will stick on to the timelines of agreement of sale, keeping the outer line of RERA. That's how. So the customer is aware of this timeline and the timelines which we mentioned in RERA.
See, I think as a builders, right? Yeah, we have to intimate the buyers on what their rights are. One way how we are doing it is good thing, like the RERA Act is quite detailed and it's well established. So we have integrated ChatGPT. So instead of there will be so many rules and regulations that I wouldn't know and maybe our CRM team wouldn't know. But ChatGPT knows everything, and so a lot of time buyers ask that, okay, in case you guys do delay, what is the thing? These are basic things. Or there is a sort of after taking the handover, and there's some issue with the building. How long will you maintain it? What is your rights? So we have integrated ChatGPT with it, and we have trained it, and it is able to answer every query regarding to RERA. And this actually helps us in our sales. See, ultimately, what is RERA? RERA is a platform which brings the consumers and the builders onto the same page. Yeah. It is ultimately built for that, right? And if the consumer knows what his or her rights are, they feel more safer, and then naturally they're going to invest more. I'll share some statistics also. In 2015, all the real estate listed companies together did a sale of 14,000 crores a year. Listed company means you can assume plain vanilla that they're way more compliant, right? Naturally, because it's part of whatever SEBI regulation and all. Now 2016 was the year when 16-17 when RERA came. Now in 10 years, 2025, the listed company share has gone from 14,000 crore per year to 1,80,000 crore sales this year. So clearly it is indicating that people who abide by RERA is what the market needs. So it's not builder versus RERA, builder and RERA. So we both are on same side of the table to empower the customer. And yeah, I think tools like ChatGPT and these sort of things greatly enhance this entire thing. And we are even making some sort of a content around, like a lecture series around what are the rights of the customer under various sections. So yeah, I think that's you're seeing that, and the players who are probably not able to do that, they are seeing the market share subside, right? So
Very well said. You know, so we have been talking about the evergreen city, and how the regulations, when the regulations are well maintained, people's increase the faith and the trust in the city and its real estate. But everybody wants to know, where is the city going? So Sandeep, where is Hyderabad going? Next 5, 10, 20 years, what do you see? And see, I'll ask you, I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. See, we talked in very generic terms about all. Sometimes we suddenly have a new future city. So people are not able to wrap their mind around how the city will progress, irrespective of the different new plans. With all your experience, where do you see Hyderabad going?
First of all, and after spending 26 years in Hyderabad, I can tell you with all confidence, and being in part of JLL and part of the ecosystem, Hyderabad has reached a maturity level where the city itself, the ecosystem itself will propel itself to grow to the next level, right? Now, I'll give an example. Now, let's talk about Bangalore as a city, right? Now, everyone says that you need a very proactive government, right? For the city to grow, for the state to grow, for the real estate to grow. Now, people keep cribbing about the infrastructure and the road, right, of Bangalore. But in spite of that, out of the 75 million square feet of office space absorbed last year, Jan to December 24, 23 million square feet, almost one third, was done in Bangalore, in spite of poor roads, in spite of bad infrastructure, in spite of potholes, in spite of bad governance. Why? Because the city has reached a maturity level where it's propelled itself, right? Similarly, I believe Hyderabad till 2014, 15, 16 is very different than Hyderabad of today, right? So Hyderabad has reached that level where the ecosystem. Now you see how the GCCs are blessing the global capability centers are blessing Hyderabad. Now every week or every once in every 2 weeks you are getting one GCC opening up, right? And why? Because they have fundamentally, the way you're asking me the question, the GCCs have a faith on the long-term future of Hyderabad, right? Now, just because one government change, another government will come, does not shake. So that could have been till 2015, 16 or 17, right? That a government change might create a nervousness, right? And I strongly believe that might be the case in Andhra Pradesh, neighboring state, because it's not reached the level of maturity. But for this state now, a change in government might give you a very short-term blip, but for a long-term perspective, it is very secured. It is. I'll say in a way, if not 100%, it is 80% in autopilot mode, right? And this city will grow. It has a great future, and there are many reasons to it. The reasons is that look at perspective. Do you know why NCR keeps growing? Because there are 4 states: Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and let's say Himachal and all this. What is the aspiration of a person who is there, normal, common people, that I want to have a real estate in NCR, right? So you are talking of a population of 4 states who wants to invest in. I fundamentally believe that if not now, in near future, Hyderabad, the way it is growing and the ecosystem and the infrastructure will be the fulcrum for all the people in South India, irrespective whether it is person in Tamilian or a Karnataka or a Kerala and all. I don't see that in any other state, right? It is just a matter of time. The way NCR is the capital city for all the 4 states, similarly Hyderabad will sooner or later become where all these people from the 4 states, neighboring states, whether it is Andhra Pradesh or Kerala or Karnataka, they want to have a piece of real estate in Hyderabad, right? So I think I don't even have 1% of iota or doubt that the Hyderabad future for next 5 to 10 years is amazingly strong. Absolutely, yes, there will be some short-term blip, but that is part and parcel of real estate cycle. I think best of the cities like New York have seen that blips, but on a long term, 5 to 7 years, it's I think very few cities in India can think of a story what Hyderabad is there. Yeah.
And before I go to builders and developers, I would like to ask you, what is your considered view on the whole FSI thing? Does it damage the city in a way to have unlimited FSI all over? And are people right when they are concerned about how the unlimited FSI may hit citizens later with government services not as much working in it? And does it work in favor of the builders and the people? So what is the comprehensive view on this?
I'll give a very, very rational logic for it. Anyone who take lands in the airport, takes the outer ring road and comes to Raidurga high-tech city. And let's suppose it is in the evening time. Once he sees the skyline, he says, wow. And he says, what has Hyderabad happened has become in last 7 to 8 years, right? Recently, my friend came from Dubai. He is in Dubai for 22 years. He was coming to Hyderabad the first time. He was mesmerized by seeing the skyline. Why do you think he was mesmerized seeing the Hyderabad skyline when he came from Outer Ring Road from the airport to Raidurg? It's because of the high rise. How did that high rise happen? Because of the unlimited FSI. Let's look at a thing that there was a restricted FSI, and the government would have restricted the buildings to only 15 floors and 18 floors. Do you think that skyline would have looked as wow? Why is Dubai? Is because of that 70-80 rate. So I always say there are goods and bads of every action, but let's look at the idea is very good, unlimited FSI, but it should be done in not across Hyderabad. It should be done in areas and not across. There should be FSI. Point number one. Point number two. Where did we go wrong? We went wrong in executing that. We didn't have proper drainage system. The service roads are narrow. Service roads should have been wider. So you know what? I asked someone from this happened some 4, 5 years, 6 years back. People say that give this logic that it makes sense for Mumbai to have skyscraper because it's a landlocked city. It does not have a land. But Hyderabad does not make sense to have high-rise towers or unlimited FSI because Hyderabad land is abundance. Now this is something I learned from Malaysia. Malaysia is a much bigger country as compared to Singapore. So in Singapore, as you know, it has a tall towers, and Singapore is all about tall towers, and that gives you that wow feeling, and that gives you the economic prosperity. Tall towers is all about economic prosperity. Now, very simple logic what they gave is, even if we have unlimited land, we wanted to create the tall towers because tall towers gives you economic prosperity, and tall towers will only come when there is unlimited FSI. But I agree with you, the way it was executed, the civic amenities, the underground drainage system, the service road and all could have been planned better. But I am a big supporter of having tall towers in key business districts. If you see in Singapore or if you see in Dubai, there are key business districts which were tall towers, not all business districts. We call it CBDs or central business district and all. So that should be allowed to have tall towers, whereas other areas you can have a FSI restriction, to answer your question.
That really is a good middle path solution, and I do think that, it would be great if the government...
Yeah. See, firstly, Deepal, even with unlimited FSI, right, we need to clarify that we have unlimited FSI only if you are abutting a 100 feet road, which is a 6-lane road. So why is that? Because 6-lane road can handle the traffic density. If let's say your property is beside a 40 feet road, you can only build 7 or 9 floors. You can take TDR and build 9 floors. If your property is beside a 60 feet road, it's only 10, 12 floors. If it's 80 feet road also, it's only 15 floors. So Hyderabad does not have unlimited FSI. Hyderabad has high FSI. That is I think the right way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And second thing also, if you look at FSI, right, and many people have a misconception of FSI to traffic. Right, let me put some statistics out. Hyderabad, if you look at financial district, that area, we are building roughly around 9 to 10 FSI. Bangalore builds exactly half, 4 to 5. America, particularly you look at LA and those suburbs, they build 0.5, 20 times less than Hyderabad. The traffic goes much higher as you go down. So high FSI is not linked to traffic. High FSI and traffic are independent problems. Just take a look at Bangalore. The average per capita, the urban mobility in Bangalore is 19.6. In 1 hour, in a reasonable, I think, working day, you can travel 19.6 kilometers in an hour. In Hyderabad, it's 25, one of the best in the country, closely tied with NCR. So, whereas we are building double the density. So, these two are independent problems, first thing. Next thing, what you said is from a government services, right? See, government services become cheaper when there's high density. I'll tell you why. Let's say now you're putting a pipeline. right? Now pipeline के लिए land acquisition cost होता है, then you उसका building cost and all of that, it becomes way cheaper if the pipeline is serving, instead of 100 people, if it's serving 10,000 people, the pipeline cost comes down. Let me share इसका statistic. US में the US government spends just on the physical upkeep of the roads, sewage networks, government buildings, close to $1 trillion a year. The entire cities are going bankrupt, something like Detroit City, because it's so far spread out. So high density is the only way where government, municipalities can have a sustainable, sustain their finances. Because see, you built infrastructure. Now the more the people use it, lesser the cost. The less number of people use it, more the. So government services will become viable when there's high density.
Yeah, all good points. It's just that Hyderabad is also spreading all over. We want our RRR also, we want the ORR also. So we are doing everything together. But I want to now again draw attention to the heart of this conversation. What kind of build, we are clear we are going to build extraordinarily in the next probably 50 years. What do you see people wanting the most? What kind of homes? Where do they want to live? Are we ever going to be able to have a builder and amenities kind of bonding where, you have all the social, infra available around the new spaces? I'm sure you think about all these things all the time. I'm sure you, Amsi, think about all these things all the time. So if you could share with us from the top of your mind, what are the things that you are encouraged by and what are the things that maybe you are thinking about? About what kind of homes do people want? Gated communities, what? Tall towers? Yeah. Yes, please. Vamshi.
Three E's will drive the residential thing. One is employment, education, and then entertainment. So wherever there is all three E's are reachable, then that is where most of us would like to have, that is where the market is. So if educational institutions are nearby, employment is nearby, then the entertainment is nearby, then most of the builders would like to have their projects for the better marketability. So that's how we concentrate in those areas where all three E's are available. Keeping that aside, why gated communities are getting more attention is because I'll take an example of standalones where the standalone building is there in the good community or a good colony, but there is a common facility which is a park is not available or which is very small, then I don't get that feeling of community living or the nice colony or something like that. So whereas when we move to the gated community, that is where you'll have all the amenities, including the club and then parks, walkaways, and then now the gated communities, as if we look for like networking, be it be the kids or because the way kids are thinking like I should not have a common friends in community and also in school. So that's how everyone is looking at the communities as well. So and then when again we talk about this high density, yes, from high density locations to the low density locations, people are trying to move. So that is where the cost of the infrastructure and all is becoming costly. Per se, we have one project where 140 flats per acre, which will lead to high density. Then people who doesn't want to be there, don't want to be there in that, then they want to try to get into the community where the density is less. When the density is less, obviously the cost is more. So
Yeah, and I see in a way you just said that, these new gated communities are becoming like your extended family, right? But Ajitesh, as a developer, how do you one manage these, what he was talking about, the high cost, but also how will you keep managing it down the future as we become more dense and people demand more? I don't think any buyer comes to you and says, now, I'm happy with this. No, they always want something else. So how, as a developer, do you see this matrix?
See, it's very simple, Deepal. So, when you're building for higher density, essentially you're concentrating. You're building for more concentration. So, first and foremost, you need to have robust enough physical infrastructure which will support it. Matlab, let's say you're building like 150 apartments in an acre or something like that, right? So, you need to plan for more lifts. See, what happens with high density? Let's talk about the disadvantages, then I'll tell about the advantages. The disadvantages, matlab, more waiting time at the lift, which can be solved by increasing the number of lifts. So we need to follow on a certain metric. Like we at ASBL follow, like every 50 flats will have one lift. So that by that number, we have seen that the average wait time is less than 45 seconds at peak hours. Right. Next thing is got to do with your entire traffic movement, especially entry exits. Right. So progressively we have been taking best of the design standards, and we have all the buildings before we go for approvals. We are having separate traffic consultants who specialize only in traffic design, study the entire master plan and make changes to it. Right. And then next, everything got to do with your amenities. Matlab your swimming pool or maybe badminton court. So here also we have gone for higher percentage of them. Typically most buildings have something like 2.5 to 3% of your saleable area as amenities. We have gone to 5.5 to 6%. So once you plan for this, then naturally your high-rise living, the negative side of high-rises can be easily taken care. Now let me explain some positive sides of high-rise. Right now we have done one community where we have 400 apartments. Usme na the supermarket, we have built the supermarket. There's no vendor who wants to come and operate there. Why? Because he's telling, I only have 400 apartments to serve. I will not make a profit. Two people came, they went bankrupt, the entire space is shut. Same thing with crush in that community. Because there are too few market, these people don't come. Another community where we're doing 1200, the supermarket is signed, the crush is signed. So, bigger the market, more the services. Now, more the services, better the ease of living. See, why are people shifting from standalone to high rises? Because standalone mein many people talk about amenities and all, but I think it's only 30%, 70% is services. So let's say standalone mein you have a maid. If the maid stops working, to find another maid takes painstakingly long time. In high rise, you simply put in the app, next day you'll have another new maid. Next day a driver.
I think they're taking each other's maids all the time.
Exactly.
Reduce stress level.
So concentration provides for better quality of life because of higher availability of services.
Yeah.
So that's been the thing. And regarding how specifically we'll tackle it, we have developed our own app, so which manages a lot of these services.
You need good societies to manage.
Yes. Either there is one problem also, which I think together again as stakeholders we all can solve it, is that see, once we are handing over the building to the facilities, to the RWA, who in turn will have their own facility manager. Now RWA people, see, any building is a complex piece of engineering, especially most high-rises are very sophisticated mechanical and electrical systems. And these RWAs are not knowing how to operate it. They won't have the technical know-how. So what we are doing, we are developing the digital data model of this. Like let's say this lift, when it needs to be maintained, not only that, which materials you need to maintain. If maintenance is not done with the right material, it spoils much earlier. Yes, this pura data model we are giving to our RWA, so that whoever is probably RW head, at least they don't need to have the technical know-how. They simply follow the data model. It will take care of the entire thing. The upkeep of building is one important challenge with high density which needs to be well thought through, and that it needs to be digitized essentially.
Yes. Yes, I can see you're really in favor of processes, and I am sure it would go a long way to help buildings. But Vamsi, we were talking about the love for sustainability and green, and how young buyers, or even not young buyers, people would go to any length to have a life which is close to nature, and which builders are trying to introduce strong elements of green in their design. So would you like to share with us, and maybe even anyone who has data on this, how people's minds have changed about how they want to live, and how they want to live in probably more space if they can afford it, or move further down, and how they want definitely to be close to green. And this shift, especially post-pandemic, has been very strong. So immediately after pandemic, we got a lot of reports. But as the time is passing, the reports are only getting stronger. It's like the pandemic has kind of rewired the mind of people to look at homes in a very different way. you know. So anybody, please speak on it, but definitely the
So it is again thanks to regulators, they'll also keep more and more conditions in it. If we see the permission letters or the thing, so now there is a one condition which says per flat one tree. So if you are doing around 1,000 flats in a community, they'll also insist you to have 1,000 different plants. So that can be planned like a big, small, or any way. So now that kind of in-depth, even regulators are going and to have the greenery around. Apart from that, we have a tot lot areas where it is up to us to make it beautiful greenery and all. And going by this IGBC norms are also, so the again
it increases the pricing of the project, and I think that
need not be, but it always even there are scenarios where you can cut down costs related to water usage. You can cut down costs related to paints, whereas there are some raw material which will cost us higher as well. So, but to fulfill the criteria of the IGBC, also will go for more solar based and all. So, keeping that, even being in the city, going following the regulatory norms, you can make your existing premises more greenery to comply with the regulatory norms. And then on top, it is the builder's responsibility as well to have more and more tot lot area. As they said, it is only 3% or 50,000 SFT, whichever is lower, to have a clubhouse. If we give a clubhouse, one smaller clubhouse for 3,000 customers, then the life is more. It is not. It will be. It is not that comfortable life with waiting for all the clubhouse facility. So it is where beyond the regulatory we have to do a 6% or 7% or having 3% of two different clubhouses. These are the things which we have to make it. And then of course younger generations are moving from higher density locations to the apartments only to have this greenery and independence.
See, basically from a sustainability standpoint, Deepal, I think the big problem with sustainability is from an economic standpoint, it's not sustainable, right? People have to pay more money for it. So I think for sustainability to really impact people, the costs have to come down. And two things have actually happened, but with little policy intervention, it can really kick off. So first has got to do with your energy consumption, that is your pure play electricity. And second has got to do with your water consumption. IGBC, broadly speaking, not probably IGBC because I have my own reservations about those. But broadly speaking, now let's say in a gated community, the power which these consumers buy from the government and then what they get charged is roughly around 8.5 rupees per unit, is what they end up paying as per unit. And most of this power is purchased from the typical your grid. Now, if you look, solar ka entire production cost is 3 rupees. So imagine a future where as a developer I have 20 communities, I'll put up one solar plant and it can achieve net zero in a single shot. The cost for the consumer also from 8.5 rupees can come down to 7 rupees, 20% less energy cost. Now these technology is now there, technology is much more, has made it more cheaper than what people use. Now what's restricting is policy. Once we have a better policy around wheeling and these things, which governments are progressively coming up with, this future becomes possible. So to achieve net zero for all communities, gated communities, is totally a reality which can be done today. Not just from the technology standpoint, mainly from a commercial standpoint. Technology is already existing. Second thing has to do with water. So water also, what we are seeing is now STP ka water, like all the water which people consume, drain water goes into a sewage treatment plant, and all major projects have a mandatory STP. So that's not like we are giving, everybody is giving, that's a good now. Now, by setting up a little better STP, which might cost you not more than 1 crore, we can set up ultrafiltration systems. Matlab, the water which is now we are filtering in the STP goes back for your all the plantation ke liye water supply and your flush water. With ultrafiltration systems, it can even go for your showering and all of that, domestic use. Isse kya hoga, for each loop of water, the wastage is not more than 10-15%. 85% of the water is recycled. So these two are the most important things I feel for from a sustainability standpoint. Again, some of them are covered in IGBC, some of them are not. The problem with IGBC also is they're not well acclimatized to the Indian consumer, not just the Indian climate, Indian consumer also. Because I've seen in some projects where the developer spend good amount of money, sir, on achieving the IGBC ratings and all of that. And after handing over, after 2 years, all those systems were thrown away by the RWA because it was costing them more.
Yeah.
So we have to look, even money has to be taken into in the format of sustainability.
Absolutely.
So
And I think we have to keep going back and
those sort of things are also there. Predominantly, I think they're built from the Western ecosystem. Their climatic condition and the demography is different. We need a much more our acclimatized versions for that.
so in all these regulations and all these norms, sir, I'd like to ask you. Yes, you want to say something?
Regarding associations having access to the solar power, it's been long after, so very recently open access system has been introduced, reintroduced into Telangana.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, but only thing is it is the industrialized organizations can have open access
It's
with the
still in
solar.
public, yeah.
So in fact, through times I request, like, probably you can also write more about having this open access to the RWAs, because in the city RWAs are consuming lot of power than industries, I guess. So it is a cost saving and also the environmental impact thing. So open access should also come for RWAs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Open access matlab you can buy power from a third party person.
Third party.
Versus only from the government.
There. So while we're talking about all these regulations and new thoughts, sir, we'd like to ask you, what does what will RERA do if it finds out that if somebody comes with a complaint that there's delayed possession, or it is not constructed the way it was promised, or any other complaints? What is because the reader would be really interested in knowing how to approach RERA and what will you do?
Of course, question is focused. Considering the discussions we are going, mostly they are coming the regulations related to the planning authority and the development control authority. As far as planning regulations and development control regulations are concerned, as per the provisions of the Act, there is a town planning tribunal. It is yet to come. It is in the process of coming. I think they will look into that. That is out of our scope. As far as RERA is concerned, for example, as Zitesh rightly mentioned, whatever is uploaded and got registered and not done. So the allottee has the entitled for the relief. So they can file complaint online or physically, and we will adjudicate, and accordingly we will give as provided in the Act. For example, that what Ajitesh was mentioning, once it is handed over, the structural defect, other aspects as mentioned in section 14.3. So they need to, of course, inform the developer. For 5 years it is there, and he has to, without charging, he has to comply. So if it is not done, they can approach the authority. Authority will direct, and accordingly our directions they should comply. And if it is not done, the compensation it is there. So those aspects within the sticking to the approval given by the planning authority and sanction given by the competent authority. So those aspects this authority will, because they are the rights of the allottees. From that perspective, this authority will adjudicate and give orders to comply.
So I've always wanted to ask you this question, Sandeep. This is a long-term, deep-down question. See, we keep hearing in different cities, there is a bubble here, there is a bubble there. Usually it's at a time when everybody is interested in real estate. They want to put in money because they think it is rising. So there is always this question about, but when you see the rise stays. So it is the real value of the real estate, it's not really a bubble. How on earth can a normal investor understand? And I'm not only talking about Hyderabad, I'm just saying how you must have thought about this. How do bubbles happen? When did bubbles happen? How do we know when something is a bubble or is not a bubble, and should we invest or should we wait or should we postpone or prepone or what? This is a very important question for everybody. So, yeah, how have you analyzed this or thought through this?
I think it's very simple. You have to bet on the best people. I always say that. This is my favorite question when I go or for a panel discussion or a talk. There will be audience and I ask them, if you have to invest your hard-earned money in real estate or a startup or a business, and let's say you have XYZ money, what is the first criteria you look at investing? 99.99% of the people say, what is my ROI? What is my IRR? Now that is the wrong. The first criteria should be, what is the DNA of the person I am investing in? I always say, if you are confident of a person with whom you are investing, it might be the developer where you're buying a flat, or if you are investing your some money to start a restaurant along with a partner, that DNA of the partner. And if you are getting 2 or 3% or 4% is less, but you trust the DNA, better invest them and have a good sleep rather than trying to invest in someone who's you are not sure of the DNA and losing the sleep. My philosophy is better to have a sound sleep and get 3%, 5% less. What is the moral of the story? Whenever there is a bubble happen, you will find that top 20% will still be there, right? They will not be impacted that much, right? Top 20. What does top 20, top 25 developers means in the real estate means? It are those developers who are very high on financial discipline. These are those developers who have done their maths very well. They are not overexposed. They have not over leveraged and stuff like that. They are not the people who have taken high interest loan from private lenders and stuff like that. Now here is my pain. If you see, most of the people are those who are very well informed, people who are buying flats. Now, for everything they will Google. That what is the irony of the society, I'll tell you, right? And sir was also telling, before coming here, we are discussing. For everything, they will do a detailed Google analysis and they will come out with 100 questions. But when they have to invest, they will not do the investigations, right? They will not find out how many times the developer has defaulted, what are the past projects. They will not go and all. Now, this is little irony. You are investing your hard-earned money of 1-2 crore. You will not do the Janam Patri DNA testing. But when it comes to what is happening, and there are people who are part of the society, right? And the same people who if something happens on the maintenance issue, they will write some 2,000 mails and they will keep writing and they will do, okay, this maintenance act says this, maintenance act says that and all. But the same people will not do. The issue is, I always believe, you take about any industry. If there is a slump on the steel industry, there is a slump in the manufacturing, the slump in the stock market. Whenever there is a slump in the stock market, the best of the stock market, the stocks, the quality stock, they don't get a beating. Or the best of the stock investors, they don't get a beating that way. My take is that best way to beat the bubble, if at all there is a bubble, is that pick your right partner or pick your right investor or pick your right partner. In case of a real estate investment, pick your right developer and you are safe about it, right? That is the way I look at perspective. You are trying to invest with a developer who is doing, let's suppose, let's give an example, someone who is doing millions and millions of square feet of space, someone is doing hundreds of projects, and if something happens in the economy, and obviously that developer is going to get, so you do that. I always advise people that do all these metrics, right? How many projects they are doing, and what is have you studied is, if it is not an listed entity, find out what is his leverage, how much loans they have taken, and there's enough information on the. Believe me, there is enough information in the public domain, but you have to do your homework well.
Yeah, no, I do think that gives everyone some sense of direction. I'd like to ask the builders, have the themes of, say, co-working, which have changed the way people work fundamentally, or maybe having wellness boards, have these things, are these more attractive to the Generation Z or the millennial families? And, people who live hybrid lifestyles now. How has all this changed the way you think about what you're constructing?
See, absolutely, Deepal, because now when we polled recently with our customers, over 500 people, 83% of them told they're exposed to hybrid work, maybe 1 day a week or 2 days a week. So naturally, infrastructure which will suit that lifestyle is what the product should offer to beat your competition. So that's how we see it. So co-working is something which is really now as sort of becoming a norm in most communities. Gyms and wellness centers were always there, but now we are seeing another important thing is physiotherapy. If you look for most people, they have some sort of physiotherapy need, so we are giving dedicated physiotherapy studios. And another very, very interesting thing which came up in recent research is your pet grooming centers. Because most of the, and no pet has ever asked, it can't ask, but when we're talking with people, especially a lot of people who are coming from North India and settled in.
Pets will do anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
So in newer facilities, we are coming up with pet grooming centers where the facility has pet grooming and a veterinary guy will come, doctor will come every once or twice a week. So because see, in a community which has 1,000 apartments, all now this entire sink concept, double income and single kid disc, what we call, say double income and disc families are going up. So in families which both wife and husband working and a single kid, most likely has a pet. So now we are able to estimate, okay, 1,000 apartments, this sort of families are this much, so we are going to have 200 pets. So this is the infrastructure what needs to have.
So, I just wanted to add something. You know, we should all, obviously, the WeWork as a company went burst. I'm talking of the global WeWork. Indian WeWork, the franchisee which was taken by Embassy did very well, and they had a big listing IPO. So Indian WeWork, which has nothing to do now with the global WeWork. But WeWork, we should credit how WeWork changed real estate, I'll tell you. WeWork was the first, because if you see co-working or whatever managed office space, was the first real estate company which bought service as an essential to real estate. What was earlier real estate? You just build spaces and hand it over, whether it is office residential. They said, no, we have to deal real estate as a real estate plus service, plus an experience, plus an human angle, plus hospitality. So they bought an hospitality angle. So they had a concierge, they had a receptionist, there was someone welcoming you, someone guiding you, then you have the guest relationship officer, then you have the experience manager. They had a designation called as the employee experience manager or customer experience manager. Now think, how many, if you just copy this model or try to see how can you use this model in residential, and how you are going to increase the brand loyalty. Typically what happens is that a residential developer makes the residential apartments and manages that for 2 years, right? And after that, society takes over. But within that 2 years, right, or 3 years that developer manages it, what is the experience they give from that human angle part of it? They are giving amenities. They are opening a clubhouse. They are opening an gym and swimming pool. That is amenities. But how are you managing that? What is the cost? That is something with that human angle part. That is the experience part of it. That is lacking. You just create a toddler's park. You just create a gym. But how is that experience of someone when he goes and uses the machine in the gym? Is there someone is saying that, look, we help you to teach you how it is happening? Is there a concierge desk and someone for that 2 years? When see does not cost much, I'm telling you. When developers start thinking, a residential developer thinking that during that 2 or 3 years, we have to give the best experience, even if it costs 50 rupees per square feet or 100 rupees per square feet more from our pocket. That is what is going to drive the brand loyalty, and that is yet to be given in the Indian ecosystem. Hardly 5 or 10% of the residential developer might be doing it, and that is lacking. Once you merge that, fuse that hospitality angle to residential development, I think we were taking that experience to the next level. Unfortunately, it is not happening.
It will skyrocket. That is true. And I've never thought of it this way. It's a very interesting and genuinely powerful insight to what developers can do next. And do you want to add something, Mamshi?
One is co-working and the other one is the preschools. These are the two aspects which we have to facilitate. How big or small the community or the clubhouse it is. Preschools are also, which is restricting only for the baby care centers or preschools. This we should add.
I would like to little bit shift the whole conversation. I have in the past year seen a lot of global architect tie-ups and elements which are taking the best from buildings across the world. Branded homes, like of course you have a builder you trust, you give them your money, that is one thing. But this whole new space where you are just branding the homes like you brand so many other things in life, and people want to go by those branded homes, is for me at least from my understanding of real estate, is a relatively new phenomenon, right? And it goes way beyond just the builder and the name of the builder. Because a branded home now, I'm sure it will move in that direction, promises a certain, like you were saying, a certain set of elements which you will not get if you move away from that brand. Do you all see that as the new wave, at least in the top, echelon of what is available in India? Because seeing a lot of people sees a lot of NRIs coming back and wanting to invest in luxury homes because there is the geopolitical situation doesn't let them, just be comfortable wherever they are. Things like that. So everybody just wants more and they want a very good branded experience. And do you see that happening?
See, yeah, as Sandeep was mentioning, I think the entire real estate consumption is moving towards experiential living.
Yes.
Right? So we have recently did a workshop, and when we brainstormed, there were 37 services which can be given to a consumer to make their life very, very simple and seamless. So yeah, we are collaborating with businesses who will provide these services. It could be as simple as somebody who gives qualified and trained housekeepers, maids, to qualified car cleaners, or somebody as simple as who can go and do a chore for you. And if you see from gated communities, most gated community users go to the airport frequently. So a sort of drop in, drop off from airport. So all of these things are going to be very, very important. And we ourselves are working on an home manager AI where the problem statement is it needs to save 10 hours of time for the apartment owner in terms of managing their house, which could be managing the maid, the newspaper guy, the groceries, all of this. So I think, yeah, the future is going towards serviced homes, and whichever brand does it much better and much faster will end up taking bigger share of the market. I think the day of simple space is gone.
See, I think if you see branded residents, that at least I know in Hyderabad there are 6-7 branded residents coming. The first will be EO by MyScape. If you see, Dubai is the best example of branded residents, the success of branded residents, whether it is Amani, whether it is Roberto Cavalli or whatever. Now, branded residence, if you see, is an aspirational living to start with. How does it happen? If you see, Hyderabad has a lot of money. And when you say branded residence, the first thing is convenience comes second in their thought process. That, okay, if I go to the branded residence, I'll get this convenience. It is about aspirational living. When they see that it is a branded residence by, as you know, all these hotels have got into branded residence. Taj into branded residence, Oberoi's into these. Then you have the designer houses, like Roberto Cavalli, all this have got into design, and then designer houses have got into. First, it's aspirational living, right? I always say that now India has reached that which the developed countries had reached long back, 10 years back, 15. India is now in that where the aspirational living, okay? How do you explain that someone who is earning, I'm just giving example, someone who is earning, a driver who is earning 15,000, 20,000 rupees buys a latest iPhone watch? Why? It is an aspirational buy, right? That I own an iPhone. Similarly, India has reached that level, or someone spending 1.5 months of salary to go to Ahmedabad to watch Coldplay's concert. So I have never seen in my journey that in last two, I think it's most of a post-COVID phenomenon that money spent on aspirational level at a different level, right? I am talking of someone earning 20,000 rupees but spending 1 lakh rupees on an iPhone on that. Similarly, the aspirational to stay in a branded residence, it is more of a status symbol, more of a prestige issue, more of a fear of missing out. My friend is staying in a branded residence, I need to stay. That is the first catch why they want to stay, and then comes the convenience, right? What Ajitesh is saying is that for his segment, which is 3 bedroom apartment between 1800 to 2300 square feet, this is the upper middle class people and stuff like, and IT employees. He wants to give that convenience without branded residence. He is giving an experiential, he is giving that human experience, which is very different from the branded residence you are talking about.
Yes, I'm aware. I just saw it. I just see this coming through because so many builders want to have international architects and have plans like international other buildings, the top buildings of the world, and that can only move towards branding. I mean, it can only move towards aspirational living, and I think we have to recognize it as a part of our reality ecosystem now, as much as we recognized all the other things. Vamsi, if you'd like to say something, and I wonder if RERA will look at it differently though, because because it will be a totally new set of people, and maybe even the old set of people will look at it differently, the builders, and then RERA will have other norms, I'm sure. But sir, it's because of RERA that we are safe and secure, so we can never forget that. So, Vamsi, any you are the you said he's 1 year older to you, right? No, or you're 1 year older to him.
Not sure. Not on the camera. I can comment anything about it. Sorry.
I said we'll let the youngest.
Then it's Ajitesh.
He doesn't know.
Thank you. See, I think definitely this is the sunrise sector of the nation, not just Hyderabad. I'll put some statistics also.
You are ready with statistics.
I feel.
Today he wants to speak more statistics than Sandeep. That's
Well said.
So, see,
But I
currently.
have seen this, sorry, I have to say this. I have seen this with a lot of people who have spent their entire life understanding numbers, Sandeep. When they hit a point where, they've seen this, done that over, then suddenly their thoughts and their speech becomes a little, not philosophical, but a little, like they're trying to do big picture conversations. Because for them, that is the most important thing.
Basically, it is targeted to me only. Yes, seen me 15 years back and now he's seeing me.
This is what happens when you know for a long time. But he was also talking philosophy, and he was talking the big picture, and he was talking about why he needs to work in a certain way. So they are all at that point.
See, yeah, the seniors. We are
Basically, you are young, we are old.
See, I mean, as a real estate industry, we are 8.5% of the Indian GDP, which is around 4.2 trillion. And by 2032, we'll become 8 trillion. And the real estate sector is going to go from 8% to 15% of GDP. That means we're going to quadruple in the next 8 years. So the growth rate is almost going to be 15% a year. And I think nodal agencies like RERA are further accelerating this growth because it's not developer versus customer, it's developer and customer.
Yes.
So we've got the policy in place, we've got the growth appetite the nation is developing. Now I think for us as developers, we have to really go the next mile in product and the next level of convenience and what we can offer global level lifestyle for our people. If you look lifestyles, I've done extensive research in US when I go and all. Yes. From a lifestyle angle there, it's becoming very difficult there. US Mena, if you're living there, you're 24/7, 7 day a week worker. That's it. There's no time for you because the ecosystem is built in such a way that it doesn't offer any time to its consumers. I think that's what we have to change. If people living in our country have a much better, they can manage their work in like 50 hours a week and then all the other chores are managed by the real estate, then they're going to have better quality of life. So the world is moving towards better experiences, which we need to give. And yes, definitely, I think there's a huge room for us as a country to become better in urban design. Our urban design, like especially from an urban landscape standpoint, right? So our per capita number of parks, all of these are less, like especially walkability. In fact, a lot of traffic challenges can be solved by last mile connectivity, which is simply having bigger footpaths, safer footpaths. So I think the discourse around urban design is really, I think, has to go up a lot in our society, and mediums like this can be really, if that comes, if people ask for good cities, governments will give better cities, and we developers are ready to, get it into production.
No, true. See, There are so many points I still want to talk about. But I think maybe that's a whole other conversation, and we could invite all of you again. And see, I just think everything that was said today is very important for any citizen of Hyderabad. And to, for people who are investing, it's only now that gold and silver have kind of, because otherwise it was all real estate, real estate, real estate, that's it. You ask anybody anywhere, this is all they're doing. I mean, we used to have film interviews which started with real estate. We used to have, it was like, it was becoming really, which is why I asked about the bubble. So I think these kind of conversations which are in depth, which are directional, which help people to understand this space, the regulations, what developers are thinking, these are very vital. As he said, 66% of entire savings of the nation is going into this sector. You said 77. So what conversations are we doing if there is a sector which is absorbing so much money? What conversations are we doing? Granular conversations are we doing? Yeah. So that's why I feel this is a very important space, and I would love for all of you to come back and have other conversations on other points. And really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all. And yeah, we'll take this forward again. Yes, thank you.